Thanks for joining me today. Today we have Hope Long, who is the library director over at the library at the Botanical Gardens. Hi, Hope. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. I'm so thrilled to have you and to talk a little bit about your library and everything you have going on. So I guess I just wanted to start out if you could let our viewers know when the Botanical Gardens Library was established. And apparently you guys are the only public horticulture library in the US. I think that's awesome, and would love it if you could talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay. The library here was started in 1973. The director of the gardens at the time was Gary Gerlach. And just to give you one step backwards, we are a public-private partnership with the city of Birmingham. There's the Friends of Birmingham Botanical Gardens that the library comes under, and then there's the city of Birmingham. And Gary actually worked for the city of Birmingham way back then, and he just really thought it was important that we have a library here. And he decided, he had seen a model at Missouri Botanical Gardens where they had the extension service in the building, and the city was a part of it. They had a friends organization, and so he kind of modeled the gardens here after that, and a library was a big part of that. And Gary also got the library to become a part of the JCLC, Jefferson County Library Cooperative, back when it first started. So we're actually one of the charter members.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which I thought was really neat. I did not know that. And it's the best thing that could ever happen to a library like this, because most botanical horticultural libraries are associated with the botanical gardens or university, and only members of the gardens or students are allowed to use those facilities. But with us being part of a public library system, we do everything like the other public libraries. We're just the only ones that have a specialized collection. And I think our biggest downfall here is that nobody knows we're here. You know, I've been here 18 years, and I don't know that there's a week that's gone by that somebody hasn't stuck their head in the front door and said, wow, I had no idea there was a public library here, or that there was a library here. But we've been here a while, and the library was run for years by a lady named Ida Burns. She was a retired school teacher, and she got together the Ladies Auxiliary, and they donated a bunch of books which started the library. And then, from then on, it just was a part of whenever we made an expansion or moved buildings, the library was always there. And I was the first full-time librarian I started in 2003. And then in 2004, I became the first full-time director here.
So I wanted to talk, segue into what you're doing during COVID, and if, I know normally the Botanical Gardens in general puts on a lot of seasonal programming, and how has COVID affected the library in particular? And I know that you are also doing an online book club called Time to Read, which is THYME for viewers who are unfamiliar, which I think is so cute. So yeah, would you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Sure. Like you said, we do have our Time to Read program. Last year, I didn't do it, and then because I wasn't sure that my members would want to do Zoom, but I think, with everything being closed down, it forced everybody to learn how to use Zoom or whatever, type of virtual programs out there. And so we started this January doing our book club online, and we've really had a good time. We've even gotten people from outside of the state that have been participating, but we meet once a month. It's usually the first Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. And normally it would be here in the library, but we're doing Zoom. And I usually take suggestions from the members, and kind of go out there and search for books that have to do with nature, gardening, food, birds, bugs, whatever. We do fiction and nonfiction. And we're not an incredibly serious book club. I think a lot of people think because it's done by a library that, that we're very serious and studious. Well, we're not. We like to have a good time. And I mean, we do talk about the book, but we constantly get off topic, but it's usually about gardening. So, we have a good time.
So when is your
And
next,
we all,
oh, I'm sorry. So when is your next book club?
it will be May, whatever that first Tuesday in May is. I'm sorry, I don't have a calendar in front of me.
I
But
would love to join.
if somebody wants to participate, they can go to our website and go to the library page on our website and just scroll down, and it's got all of the time to read books there and a little registration underneath, and you just need to register. It doesn't cost anything, but once you register, they'll send you a link, and you can join in.
I also wanted to ask you about, apparently patrons can stop by and pick up honey from the botanical gardens. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I read an article years ago that it was talking about how the majority, like 90% of the honey in grocery stores is not real honey. And beekeeping has gotten to be very popular in the last 10 to 15 years. And we actually have hives here at the gardens. And I just wanted to make sure that the public had access to local fresh honey. And so I started selling honey here. One of my volunteers, her husband was a beekeeper, and we started out selling his honey. And so now we carry the honey from here at the gardens. We carry Ivy Brook apiary honey, which they do a lot of really neat stuff with their honey. They do some lemon honey and some cinnamon creamed honey, which both are delicious. And of course, we've got, just regular honey. And then, we also have jalapeno honey.
Ooh.
And then we also carry pewter fork honey. It's a little bit outside of Birmingham, but, it's all good local honey.
I know that we just celebrated National Library Week, and so I thought it would be a great time to interview you and to also ask you, a little bit about yourself. Like, was being a librarian initially part of your original life's work plan and passion, or how did you come to be a librarian?
When I was in middle school, I worked in the library. But, it never occurred to me to become a librarian. I liked, being a library aide. But my undergrad degree is in English, secondary education. And then I went on to get a master's in English, and got tired of going to school and realized that maybe teaching wasn't what I wanted to do. So I did property tax research for 7 years, And actually, when I was in grad school, I met a guy who was just graduating and was going to library school, and he was the one that told me about it. And after 7 years of doing property tax research, I went to library school, and I ended up once I graduated working for the Hoover Library, and absolutely loved that. But it was just a part-time job. I was working in reference nonfiction, and then my father at the time was the president of the Aldrich Gardens board, and they had just lost their admin assistant. And he said, "Hey, would you come over here and, work until we can find somebody to, we can find an admin assistant." And so I worked part-time at Hoover and part-time at Aldrich for about 3 years. And the job opening came up here, and I thought, ooh, my two favorite things, gardening and books. And my only regret is that I didn't go to library school straight out of my undergrad degree, because I love being a librarian. It's to me the best job that you could possibly have. And like I said, that's my only regret, is I would have gone into it earlier if I'd known how great it was going to be.
I also kind of wanted to ask you, in talking about COVID, what brings you joy in life, and how have you been finding your center during our new normal? Have you picked up any new hobbies?
Yeah, I started, I call myself a serial crafter. I jump from one kind of craft to another, and I did take up needle felting.
Oh.
But we have kind of kept the library open. I never, I never really worked from home because there's not really that much a librarian can do from home. And, we continue to allow people to come in, to get books, or we have a bunch of used books right now. So we've let people come in to look at the used books or to get honey, or we also have a seed exchange. And that has just become one of my favorite things to do at work, is to mess around with the seed exchange. We took our old card catalog and filled it up with all kinds of open pollinated seeds. And the idea is for people to come in, take seed, grow it, and save seed for themselves and bring some back to the seed exchange. And so that has brought me a lot of joy. I've really had a good time messing around with that. And right now I kind of veered off into packaging up a bunch of the butterfly weed that's so good for the monarch butterflies. I have packaged up a bunch of that and have just been giving it out wherever I can, just to encourage people to plant that and, have it available, for the butterflies to get good nectar from.
That's so cool. So for the seed exchange, how would the public, how did they get involved, and do they have to sign up for it, or do they just come, do they call you?
Actually, they can, if they go to our website, they can look up the seed exchange and, get an idea of how it works. And I just ask people to fill out an application, just, and then we keep a record book here, and, they record what they take and they record what they bring back. I have started doing, if somebody comes in with seed and wants to bring seed in, I'm charging a $10 deposit when people get seed, and when they bring seed back, I'll give them their $10 back. It's just a way to kind of guarantee that we get seed back. But if somebody brings in seed when they want to join, I waive the $10. It's just a good way to remind people that they need to close that loop of getting seed, growing it, bringing some back. But yeah, we've got, the whole thing is just full of fruits, vegetables, grains. I've got some funky cotton. I've got some brown cotton and green cotton, and native plants. We have a seed that I've collected from here at the gardens. And so, it's just everything you can possibly imagine.
You have so many cool things happening at your library, and I want to be involved in all of it. So
it really is. It's a fun job. I really have a good time.
I just love that. I love, when people love their jobs, because that's the point. You have to love what you do. And I want to thank you for giving so much to the community. I mean, these are such great creative projects that you have going on. What are some of your favorite books, and what are you reading lately? Are you reading anything cool?
My favorite gardening book is actually an older book. It's called The Southern Gardener's Book of Lists, and it was done by Lois Trigg Chaplin. And it's just lists of plants, for sun, for shade, for hills, for, it's just got great information. And even though it was published in 1998, it's still very relevant information. As far as personal, we just finished American Dirt for our book club, which I don't know that was exactly the normal book that we do for our time to read book club, but I kind of crammed it in there, and it made for a really good discussion. It was kind of a hard read. I mean, it was great, but it was kind of a harrowing tale. I have been, just for pure pleasure lately, I've been reading a lot of Susan Wittig Albert, just real light. I call it brain candy. Just to keep my spirits up. But we're reading Dirt, My Adventures in Lyon as a Chef, a Father. It's Bill Burford. And it's been pretty funny. So that book's been a lot of fun. My favorite book of all time is Shantaram by Gregory David Roberts. It's like a huge 900-page book, but it's just fantastic.
What's the premise of the book?
Um, it is loosely based on his life, although he wrote it as fiction, but he got put in prison. It was either in Australia or New Zealand. I can't remember. Anyway, he was getting abused in jail and he escaped and ended up in the ghettos in India. And because he had been trained as a medic in the military, he kind of became the doctor. And it's about his adventures of living in the ghettos in India and, you know, making his way out of that and just all of the crazy things he experienced while he was living there.
That's really
And
cool.
I just loved it. It was just wonderful.
I'll have to check it out. I'm surprised. Was it ever made into a movie?
They kept trying. And, you know, I would see it out on IMDb, and I think it was Russell Crowe that really got behind it, that wanted it turned into a movie. And, you know, it's just, you know, how do you turn a 900-page book into a movie?
Yeah.
I think it would be very hard, but you know, I haven't gone and looked lately to see, but I have it downloaded as an audio book, and I'll go back and listen to it about every 6 or 7 years just because I liked it.
So I want to thank you for joining me today for this little talk, and it's just been an absolute pleasure. And I was going to ask you, are there any last remarks you'd like to make? Or I hear that you're having a book sale soon also.
We are. Back in July of last year, we got a huge donation from Bill Barrett, who was the former director of Bellingrath Gardens. He retired and gave us about 500 gardening books. And, you know, we weeded our collection. Everybody was cleaning out their house last year. And so we probably have about 600 gardening books, and we are going to be taking them all out to the plaza on April 24th. That Saturday, and we're just going to have a big book sale, and we'd love to have people come out, and it's to raise money for the library. You know, everybody's budget's been cut, so, you know,
Yes.
we're trying to raise money for the library, and you know, come out and visit the library or tell other people about our library. You know, I'd love for people to come visit and come check us out.
Absolutely. I will be there at the book sale because I love buying books, and then I acquire more than I can read in one sitting, but I guess that's the problem of a librarian. Well, thank you so much again, Hope, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.